Welcome to another episode of CSM Practice Podcast, where we share customer success best practices. But today we're going to have such a great discussion with a CEO of a support solution company called Support Logic. His name is Krishna Raj Raja. We're going to talk about, is support and CS roles going to merge? What has he been seeing as a trend in the industry in the past year or two? How would those KPIs change? Which companies are probably going to merge these roles sooner? And why is this happening? What's the impact of AI on support and CS? And what's important for him as a CEO who owns both of these functions at the moment? How did he structure the CS team versus the support team? And so much more. If you're not aware of this trend of support and CS merging in some businesses, you should definitely listen to this conversation because it's going to blow your mind and make you think carefully about how this customer success managers team potentially going to change, especially in smaller companies. Oh, according to Krishna, anything can happen, and even larger companies are going to embrace this approach. And we're going to hear from him why he thinks that way. So, Krishna Raj Raja, thank you so much for joining our show.
Eric, pleasure to meet you.
Super nice having you on this podcast. And I think it's a real treat because it not only allows us to talk about customer success, but also take it from the perspective of how support and customer success influence one another. Would you say that since customer success has become more of a mainstream practice for many businesses, we also see how that trickles and impacts the way we perceive and practice customer support?
Yeah, we're living in a very interesting times. The support and success, it seemed like two completely separate worlds. They were highly complementary. Support issues were often would be discussed in the customer success context, and so they get pulled into a lot of customer conversations. Outstanding support issues becomes customer success pain points because it becomes unhappy customers. It affects your renewals, it affects your expansion opportunities, so on and so forth. The time has come for these two different functional groups to merge. And I think with the acceleration of the AI technology and the adoption in the industry, I think that trend is going to get even more stronger in the coming years. And this is what many of us in the industry, we believe that merger is happening. If you look at many cutting edge technology, one of the things they do is fusion of roles. Many roles can be now performed by fewer people because the technology allows you to do that fusion. I'm super psyched about that transformation that's happening in the industry right now.
So here's one contention that one might say, well, can this happen? First of all, if I'm a support agent and all I do is react to customers' ask, meaning they call me because something breaks and I need to fix it, who's responsible to proactively outreach to customers to offer additional value or additional use cases? How does that work?
Traditionally, right, support has always been on the receiving end because you're reacting to things happening in front of you. Now, with the rise of AI, many of that is going to get automated. Whether you're going to put a chatbots in place or some of the technology in place, some of the low-hanging fruit issues are going to get completely automated away. So this means who's the most smartest person in the company? If you ask me, I would say they are the support people because they know more about your product. They know more about how the product is being used in real world, more so than the product manager who spec'd out the product or the engineering who developed the product. That expertise is going to be reapplied in different ways, and the support role is going to transform into more of a proactive outreach role. And the other thing is traditionally you looked at it, right? You say support is reactive, they're focused on problem resolution. Do they have the soft skills to elevate the conversation, to talk about outcomes, to talk about impact for businesses? But guess what? Again, AI can help you to gain those skills. Soft skill augmentation is going to be a very big thing in the industry right now. And I think the vice versa trend is also going to happen. If you look at customer success professionals today, they are good at managing customer relationships, but not necessarily that great in handling technical issues. So often they have to divert their questions to technical support team, guess what? Again, AI can augment them to give the right technical answers for the right technical resolution, even though they may not be an expert in that. So I think this enabling technology is going to change the roles of these personas. And by the way, this is not something happening for the very first time in the industry. This parallelism has been applied for other roles. DevOps is another great example. DevSecOps is another example. Development and operations used to be separate functions. They got unified with all the tooling in place. DevSecOps is the same thing. So I think there is a lot of precedence in the industry for this.
I think what I'm hearing is that in terms of skill sets, we can coach technical people to elevate their talk track and also understand the business acumen perspective that CSMs often have, and vice versa. People that do have a business acumen can learn technical responses using AI. So essentially, you can hire more junior people and train them up a lot faster with the AI capabilities. And I think I've also heard you say something along proactivity. Do you feel like this perception that support is purely reactive to calls submitted by customers, those days are going to be long gone within maybe like a couple of years tops, where support tickets are actually created automatically based on what is happening in the software, based on telemetry?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of companies have already put telemetry in place. Issues are notified. I mean, you take even consumer electronics like your smart televisions, they have telemetry built in. If your hardware is failing in your smart televisions, the company already knows about it. The support rep can make a phone call to you and say, it looks like your hardware is failing. I'm going to ship you a new TV because you're under warranty. That kind of thing is possible today. I don't know if you've seen this, even in, again, I'm giving the smart television example. Today, if you buy any smart TV, if you have an issue, you can troubleshoot that issue, sharing your screen, what you see on the screen, to the support rep. I mean, you're talking to them over the phone, but they can see what's on your screen. So all this technology already exists. So this is only going to get accelerated more. Augmentation of skills is going to be the biggest disruptor the AI is going to do. People who are not great coders or better coders with AI. People who are not good with language are very good with language now with AI. People who don't have the soft skills are going to be good with AI. People who don't have the technical skills are going to be good with AI. That means the role of ours is going to get elevated much, much higher. I mean, when calculators came, people thought, oh, our mathematical abilities are going to go bad because we can't do basic math. We're going to do everything with calculators. And initially there was concerns, oh, we need to ban calculators from schools. Guess what? Every school now encourages calculators. Same thing happened with laptops. When laptops came, oh my God, we're going to do an Excel sheet came with, oh my God. Like every technology, it is now embraced even by the universities. You have open book, open internet exams, open laptop exams, and there's going to be open AI included in exams as well. But the level of things we're doing has gone up significantly. The skills that we're doing, the game that we are playing is elevated. I think that's what is going to happen in the both in the support and success industry. The traditional way of looking at success, traditional way of looking at support, no longer is going to work.
I think you're right, actually. The roles, it's going to be easier to wear multiple hats, theoretically, non barring bandwidth, because maybe AI will help reduce a lot of these manual processes and allow us to elevate our skills a lot faster, so we could do more things at the same time. However, what about KPIs? Many times we see support teams look at KPIs like, oh, how quickly did you close the support ticket? Whereas customer success would look into what's the ROI we got for the client? What is the gross retention rate? What's the churn rate? What's the upsell rate? Do you see in the future support team looking at upsell opportunities and renewals as part of the key performance indicators? Or is this something that's already happening with some of the clients that you have as a company that sells support solutions?
It's already happening. So the foundation of Support Logic, the company that I founded in 2016, so cutting edge in 2016, because AI was not anywhere in the news in 2016. But not only the technology we're thinking was cutting edge, the vision we had for the company was we foundationally believe that support is not a cost center. It is a revenue center. It is a profit center. But if you look at vast majority of the tools that exist today, whether it's AI-based tools or even non-AI-based tools, they treat support as a cost center, and it's always about how do I reduce the number of cases coming in, improving efficiency, and so on and so forth. I think it's very short-sighted, and I think the industry has woken up to that. Support is fundamentally your biggest customer acquisition engine. Your CAC is going to go down if you provide great customer support. When you become a trusted advisor for your customers, it is very easy to do cross-sell and upsell. When a salesperson comes and pitches it, it feels very salesy. When you're solving a technical issue for a customer, in the process you recommend a solution, the customer is more likely to listen to it. And this is something I experienced firsthand as a support engineer for a company called VMware back in 2002 to 2012. I was doing that role. I've seen this firsthand. The challenge has been the industry has been seeing support as a cost center, and it's more tactical. Let's take cases one case at a time, and first response time, resolution times, all of that metrics, not looking at other metrics. That is changing right now. With technology like AI, with technology like support logic, you can glean insights into what the customer is trying to do, and this could become a co-pilot for a support engineer and recommend them to ask the right questions when you're interacting with the customers, so you can gently nudge them towards a sales opportunity. Or you can have a monitoring solution in place. Support Logic is a monitoring solution for any post-sales customer interactions that passively monitors all the interactions, identifies opportunities, and can notify your sales team or your customer success team opportunities and risks. Risk with an account you can notify, opportunities also you can notify. Those technology exists today. This is not something like a vision we're talking about. It exists today. People are using it. Some innovators are pushing the envelope here.
You have a support team, obviously, for your company. What KPIs do your support team now has that maybe you wouldn't have thought about having them monitor and look into 10 years ago, now that you kind of see the influence of customer success on your own support team?
Yeah, I mean, traditionally, if you look at support organization, they would do NPS metrics that everybody touts their NPS metrics, or NPS is the highest industry standard, and then CSAT metrics. I think those were great metrics, but I think they are outdated now. We are using that metric because that's the only metric that we have. That's the only way to measure the pulse of the customers through surveys. Now, we all know in the industry, survey response rates are so poor. Fraction of our customers respond, and usually the customers who respond are either extremely happy or extremely unhappy. So I call this the red state or the green state customers who respond. The real problem is the yellow state. Yellow state customers have abandoned you. When they abandon, they become dispassionate. When they're dispassionate, they don't respond to your surveys. They are your highest risk. You need to take the yellow state customers and turn them into green before it turns them into red. So coming back to your KPI question, for us, the KPI is our sentiment score. So Support Logic has a sentiment score. We compute sentiment score for every customer interaction on a continuous basis. And you can chart out how the sentiment score is going up or down in the life cycle of a case, in the life cycle of a customer. That becomes our key metric to see whether that sentiment score is going up. If you do that thing right, if the sentiment score goes up consistently and you're not letting that decline, you're never letting down your customer experience at any point in time. A lot of times we do a diving catch last minute to win the customer back. But sometimes it's too late. This allows you to be very proactive, and like we predict escalations for our customers using our own technology. We predict sentiment of the customer without sending surveys. That's the cutting edge technology that exists today, and that's what we're using.
Do you have plans to merge your customer success team with your support team, or are they already sort of like under the same head of like a CCO? You're kind of starting to look into having specialized roles versus completely different teams that are running by different managers.
Right now, all reports to one person, our CCO, Judith Platts. She manages both support, success, and onboarding, pretty much all post-sales. We think that is the model. I mean, there's been a lot of debate in the industry. Even for customer success, there's a lot of debate. Should customer success report under sales or should go under the CCO? Should support go under engineering or should go under CCO? We have seen companies where support actually reports to the product teams In some scenarios, it makes sense because you want to tightly intertwine that with the product feedback loop, with the support issues you're getting. The approach we have taken is that post-sales customer interaction should all come under one person. So that's, in our case, is Judy, our Chief Customer Officer. The approach I've taken is that the job of the GTM function, the sales and marketing function, is only to land customers. That's it. Land the customer. Landing for us, I would not consider as winning. In fact, even if you look at the Salesforce or any of the CRM, you would say closed won. And I don't like the word closed won. You didn't close anything. You didn't win anything. You just got a ticket to work with your customers. The winning starts after you land the customer. You can't close that relationship. The relationship is just start opened. So we need to even change our terminology in how we think about landing customers versus what we do post-land customers. It's a very simple bifurcated model. GTM engine focuses on landing customers, and the CCO office looks at everything post-land. And I specifically say land and not say sale, because sometimes sale may not even happen. You just landed the customer. Customer didn't pay a dime to you yet. Just they're given an opportunity to work with you, and then you own their business.
I love that. That's very customer centric, very healthy way of looking at things with a little bit of caution, a lot of affinity to that relationship. It almost reminds me how when we were little, we would go downstairs and go to the grocery shop and we knew the owner and have a chit chat with them about our family. You kind of like know the person. And I feel like when you embrace that, okay, they just give us an opportunity to work with them. And we embrace that and we take a lot of care with that relationship and bring a lot of respect to it, you get tremendous results when you have this kind of culture in your organization.
Yeah, I think the challenge we've always had, we get punted to different departments, different phone numbers, different phone lines once you land a customer. Oh, if you have this issue, it's a support issue. Talk to the support person. Oh, this is a customer success issue. Oh, this is account renewal. This is account manager. And it's like so many different personas you're dealing with. End of the day, customer just wants to engage with you in one single chat stream. I'm saying figuratively, not literally. Like one continuous conversation is what the customer wants. All your back office complications is company's problem. Shouldn't be imposed on the customers. How you redirect the questions, who handles it. You just want to make that engagement that simple. That's a model we are striving, and that's a model, like for example, our onboarding team members are the ones who also does demo for customers. They also engage in pre-sales. So right at the demo, they know exactly what the customer's pain points are, discovery. Then do the onboarding. They also do partial support. So it's like the full continuum experience. And many of our customers love that because they feel like, okay, this person knows what I'm trying to accomplish. I don't need to repeat myself to a different person.
Can you share how big is the CCO's team at the moment?
We are fairly small. We have a hyper efficient team, hyper efficient startup. I think the entire CCO team would be 10 to 15 people.
Okay, the reason I ask is because one would contest potentially that this model actually does work well for companies that are emerging or in hyper growth. But as soon as you become a public company or even enterprise, there's some snags in this approach, although it's like great for the customer. It's hard to scale a business that way. And so what companies tend to do is they start creating specialized roles. So it's easier to hire, and then everybody specializes on a particular process or a particular phase in the customer journey. How do you propose larger companies tackle this?
This is the fundamental reason why the state of post-sales customer interaction exists in the way it exists, because we have not figured out a way to scale this. See, when a company is very, very small as a startup, the founder CEO does everything. He builds a product, he sells a product, he supports the customers, he's a customer success manager, renewals and all that. And then as you grow, you assign different people to different roles. How do you do that in an effective way? I think the answer to this is clearly technology. The technologies that exist today did not exist before. Like even simple thing, like case routing. If an incoming inquiry comes in from your customers, how do I determine this question needs to go to customer success or to an account manager or to somebody in support? And even within support, who's the right subject matter expert within the support? It's a very complex process. So we use human beings to filter them out. Hey, let's call this number or file this one, choose this option when you're filing an issue. We will direct it to the right person. Now, guess what? With AI, I can parse that. and direct that to the right persona within the company. So when you do that kind of a model, the fusion of roles becomes much easier. Now, for larger companies which are using legacy technologies, it's difficult to do it. If they embrace AI and they take the crawl, walk, run approach of embracing AI, this is actually a possibility. This is a reality. This is not a pipe dream, in my opinion, at all. This is achievable. But you need to have the willpower to do it, because changing the status quo is not easy to do. I mean, it's a very risky thing. If a support leader or a CCO comes and say, I'm going to make this transformation, they have to be bold to make this change. It's doable. Fear is one of the barriers. I don't think the technology barrier exists now. It's more about the willingness to do it.
I agree. And I think the secret sauce is sprinkling the AI tools in it, because otherwise, I think it's going to be very hard. If you think about how these larger companies are structured and the systems they're currently using, it's very hard to imagine merging roles. But as soon as you sprinkle AI in it, a lot of opportunities open up. And I will tell you, Krishna, from my experience, what I have observed so far working with these large enterprise companies, change is very hard for them. And when you do the change too fast, sometimes something else gets hurt. So every move needs to be extremely thoughtful. So I think those are going to be the laggers on embracing AI, unless it comes in a baked solution like support logic that kind of like gives them an augmented experience of a specific process or a phase in the customer journey.
Yeah, if the change is too fast, it could be nauseating. It's a whiplash. It's going to be very disruptive. I think this is why strong, fearless leaders is important, because any change you put together, no matter how trivial you think those changes are, it's not going to go smooth. We have to accept the fact on the first transition period, it's not going to go smooth. Existing people will show resistance, but that's what change happens. And as a CEO, this is something I have to battle with in every aspect of the business when it comes to change. And I think I would advocate that same thing for the CCO leaders or customer success leaders. Now, one key element here is when you're using a technology, it's not the engine, it's the workflows that changes people's behaviors. And the workflows is not something saying that I'm going to create a process document, make them everybody read and say, this is the workflow we're going to do. No, the software tool that you're using can foster that workflow. Like one of the fundamental approach we did was, any case that is not going right, entire company should be able to read it. What are the barriers? Not everyone in the company has access to your support ticketing system. And it's too noisy to read every support ticketing system. The user interface you have to train and everything. So what we did in our product is, if a support issue is not going well, we can trigger an alert, sends a Slack message or MS Teams message. You click on it, the case appears like a Google Doc. And anyone in the company can look at it. It could be product manager, it could be the CEO, it could be the customer success. And they're all swarming and collaborating. This is essentially fusion of roles. We're breaking the silos, essentially. Because silos exist from the infrastructure first. If you break the silos from the infrastructure, the workflows will follow.
Fascinating discussion, honestly, Krishna, like breaking the walls, breaking the silos, breaking contentions of what a role should be and the traditional concepts of support versus customer success. I think these are trends we're going to see in the next few years continuously unfold, and see the impact on AI on these kind of aspects in the company. And who knows what would happen to the customer success role. It was just so fascinating to hear from someone that's so impactful and a thought leader that's coming from the support perspective. And what is your vision and insights around what is happening in businesses today, and how is that function is being impacted by customer success and AI? Truly, truly fascinating.
Yeah, I would just say this. I believe this fusion of role is going to happen to every functional group, not just support and success. Product and engineering is going to fuse with AI. Product managers will be able to build products with just giving a command prompt, and they can build products. That's already happening. Design and product is already fused with products like Figma. Support and success is going to happen. Success and sales is going to fuse. That's the other thing. You talked about success. I think success and sales, that overlap is also getting bigger and bigger, because more and more revenue for companies today coming from post-land sales, not doing land. So the success function is taking a lot of revenue responsibilities. So this is very interesting times. It's somewhat disruptive if you think in that way, but also it's very, very huge opportunity to make a big impact for customer base.
Yeah, I mean, time will tell. In the meantime, I do sign up for the contention that sometimes some companies don't necessarily need a separate CS role. I do acknowledge that sometimes it makes sense in certain business models and life cycle of the company to not have CS as a separate role. I don't think it's always profitable, and I don't think that in certain like product-led companies that it even makes sense, especially if most of your customers pay you less than $1,000 a year. So I will give you that, but the rest, I think time will tell. All right. Hey, folks, if you enjoyed today's interview, you got some insights on how the CEO thinks, and what do you think about these projections for future? Love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And in the meantime, we got a CEO who's the head of a startup. And if you want to check his solution out, that would be amazing. Krishna, thank you so much for coming on our show.
Yeah, thanks, Reddit. This is a lot of fun.
And with that, it's a wrap, and I'll see you at the next video.